Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Keep the Community Fed podcast by White Center Food Bank. This is episode 11. Wow. We have an amazing guest on deck for you today that we're really excited about. But I'm one of your hosts, Carmen Smith. I'm the executive director at White Center Food Bank, and our co-host Gabby. We had a little bit of a scheduling conflict, but we enjoyed having Robert so much that he is going to be our co-host for today.
Happy to jump in. It was a lot of fun to record last time and happy to interview somebody like Joey. Very excited to be here.
Yes, and for listeners, for a little bit of context, this is going to be a very fun podcast because Robert and Joey are BFF outside of the food bank, but also create a really fun dynamic here at White Center Food Bank that um, I'm lucky to be a part of at times, as well as other folks here. And so um, I don't want to forget our amazing behind the scenes crew. So we've got Jefferson Rose on sound production.
Hey, episode 11. Let's go.
Woo! And Randy Wynn on video
Yo,
production.
yo, yo, yo.
And our very special guest, Joey Romness, who is our operations coordinator. Um, So we're really excited to have you. You've been with the team for two
Almost
and a
3.
half
Almost 3
years.
now.
Time goes by when you're
Indeed.
having fun. But Joey is such a joy to have as a part of the White Center Food Bank team. He's, I don't know, like our social butterfly, I feel
I
like in the
suppose so.
office, but also does really meaningful work for us here and is always thinking about community and the experience of our customers. And so just really delighted to have you here today. And does anybody else on the team want to say some really nice things about Joey?
Yeah, I do want to pitch in here. You say he's the social butterfly. He is also an amazing produce purchaser, which is, questions that I pick up a lot from donors or people who are interested in donating and they want to know how kind of the sausage is made or like what we use our money for. And it's great to know that we have somebody on our team who nails it every time, finds the cheapest deals, and it really makes it a lot easier for me to explain what we do at the food bank because we have such a an awesome produce purchaser. It really does.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, and I just remember Joey's interview and when he came onto the team and just how we were so excited to have somebody that both had worked in farms, had worked in restaurants, and kind of just brought like a well-rounded food experience to the table to really understand food systems. And it was just I just remember that interview just kind of being blown away and like, yeah, this is the right person for the team. Not just for the job, but for the team.
Only I can say this, but Joey's the best office roommate anybody can ask for. So
Yes, you two share an office. It's like
Yeah.
the bro cove back there.
I do
Yeah.
have a quick question for you, Randy, while Joey's here. When are you ever going to remodel your office and kind of clean
That's
it up?
true.
I know that's something
That
that
was something that
you
was
had agreed
promised.
upon with Joey.
that is true. Soon to be, soon to be.
Aren't you glad we're airing all of this for everyone to hear? I do want to give a special shout out to my girl Tony from Utopia. She was here last week and I got to touch base with her, but she like gave us such high praises for the podcast and it just
Aw.
like made my heart melt a little bit. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she listens to our podcast." So, just want to give her a shout out for when she
And
listens to this.
sad to have
But
missed her.
oh yeah, I don't know where you were.
Me neither.
Probably
Around.
running around
Yeah.
picking up food
Yes,
from a
Yeah.
yeah,
farm or picking
somewhere.
up food from somewhere else. You're always on an adventure.
Yeah.
So want you to introduce yourself before we kind of dig into your role here at White Center Food Bank. Just want listeners to get to know you a little bit better. So maybe share your background, your work experience. Jefferson alluded to that a little bit,
Yeah.
and then maybe um, why you wanted to work at White Center Food Bank.
Sure. So yeah, hi everybody. I'm Joey. You've gotten that. You've gotten the small bits about who I am. Um, I have been here almost 3 years now, as we touched. And before that, I kind of hopped around the food industry. I've sort of worn a lot of hats throughout my adult life. I've worked on farms back in Minnesota and here. I worked in restaurants, both in the DC area and here in Seattle. And back when I was in undergrad, my sort of primary focus of what I studied was food sovereignty and food justice, mostly with farming back then. But I became kind of obsessed with food during that time and wanted to keep pursuing it. And so I went to culinary school after college. So I've kind of been steeped in this for a good bit of time. And right around COVID, I was furloughed from my job here in Seattle as sort of the restaurant industry kind of went into the dumpster. Um, and I got to sort of think about like what I wanted to do with my life sort of moving forward. I was almost 30 and it was sort of time to think about like whether I wanted to go down the path of trying to become a chef de cuisine, executive chef, start my own place eventually, or did I want to sort of try and realign and sort of think about like what I had studied in college. Um and I actually got lucky enough that after kind of failing to run a brewery, um, I found a job post for the White Center Food Bank. This was right around the time, I think it was just about after the first taste of White Center. That's when I discovered the White Center Food Bank. I had just moved to the White Center area, and I sort of just saw this job post that seemed to have almost everything I wanted in it. And so shot an application, and a few years later, here I am. Um, Yeah, and, I really wanted to work here because I had been doing food stuff for so long, and I had been serving a lot of folks who often had a lot of privilege, had a lot of money, stuff like that, and I do love that, and I love making fancy food, and, like, being creative with food will always be something I'm deeply passionate about, but it I feel a lot more aligned with my community doing this kind of work, and I feel like I'm able to bring a lot of what I learned into this work, as we sort of previously stated, and it's often quite beneficial for the team. So yeah, that's a small bit about who I am, uh, and I'm super happy to be here.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
How early on did you have a love for food? And what is it that inspired you to do those undergrad studies?
I so funny enough, back in high school and even before then, I was a pretty picky eater. Um, I
What?
like I didn't eat I know.
I feel like I have to be defensive around Joey because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a picky eater. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Things
But
have changed a lot.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, like wouldn't touch salad till I was 19. I ate my steaks well done, all that kind of stuff. Like very different. I got to travel after high school actually. I was very overambitious when I did all my college stuff as a high schooler, and I applied to like only Ivy League schools, places where I was not going to get in, and I was like, "Nah, they'll take me." They didn't. I didn't get accepted to any colleges on my first round of applying for schools. Like I was just out of luck, and I basically had to wait a year. So I was forced to take a year off before I went from high school to college. And my parents were like, "You're not staying here the whole time. You got to figure something out." Uh, and so I applied for a bunch of different programs to sort of like fill my time, and I got accepted to this one way back called this program called Where There Be Dragons, which I still hate the name, but they'd send people to different parts of the world, and oftentimes it was often like language immersion and cultural immersion programs around the world, and the idea was like this is where like places where dragons used to be on maps, places that maybe people don't know much about, especially in the United States in Western society where we live. and I was sent to Bolivia, and I spent about 4 months living with a homestay family, learning Spanish, learning about the culture there, uh, making reckless decisions sometimes. But yes, I was the prime young age of 18, and I had really never left the United States, or I'd done it a little bit, but not like this. And that was a trip that kind of shaped who I am now. Like I was forced to like leave this bubble I had grown up in, and like I grew up in upper middle class white suburbia.
In the DC area.
In the DC area, yeah, on sort of the East Coast. I'm from Washington DC, everybody. Um, and that sort of rocked my world a little bit. Like I was exposed to so many things that I knew nothing of. And I think after that, I sort of started reshaping who I was based on trying to understand things around me, experiment with things around me, um, and eat a lot more food. I was staying with the Bridgers family, and so I got to eat a lot of fresh produce. I killed many a chicken, and yeah, it was it was a really wild time for me. And that's sort of what I think that's what started me on this path. Obviously, once I got to college, I pursued environmental studies because of everything that I had felt I had been exposed to. Yeah.
That's so interesting. How did you like push yourself like outside of your comfort? Like, like how was it just because like you had to while you were with your host family? Like you had mentioned like not being interested in produce before, but how you had to eat produce. Like what was there like a moment where you realized that like you had to kind of step into this discomfort and like, what was the reasoning
Yeah.
behind that?
I mean, sure, part of it was like I was placed in this environment where I had to kind of adapt or be uncomfortable and go home. That was certainly part of it. I had a lot of mentors around me who were very well educated and who wanted to like broaden our horizons and open us to experiences that we hadn't like that we were uncomfortable with. So I had some extra help. Um, and I think that all of this exposure to things I had never seen before growing up in such like an affluent suburb, um, despite the sort of like lifestyle differences and obviously wealth differences in places like this, it was I guess I still found myself finding a lot in common with those around me, and I just wanted to get to know them. And as I felt a connection with these people, I wanted to like understand their culture. This was the Quechua culture that I was staying with in Cochabamba, Bolivia. So this was an area very firmly rooted in Quechua culture, which previously like the Quechua group was part of the Inca Empire, all that fun stuff with history. But I just wanted to get to know all that stuff better because it was so fascinating. There was such a rich cultural history. It was beautiful there. Um, and it felt like almost like rude to not learn these things, and like uh everyone else was living there and doing all these things. Like I had to not come off as I don't know, not come off as a dumb gringo.
Mm.
Yeah.
What an amazing experience. Did you travel? Because so Joey has been to a lot of places, and was it through the same program that you got to experience other countries too?
No, it was just that program was just Peru and Bolivia. um I got to see a bunch of other places with friends I met on the program once we were like
Okay.
finished with that. So I saw a few more countries in South America because of that. But I've done a lot of I got to do a lot of travel in my life, partially through places my parents took me when I was young. That was mostly like beaches though. Yeah.
I'm not mad at
Not a
that.
problem, right? Not a problem. Yeah, I'm not gonna complain about like having been to the Caribbean once or twice, right? Uh but it was during college that I sort of got to like leave the surroundings I grew up in, and I met folks who I wanted to travel with. And I also got very I've always been pretty good at selling myself, I think. So, I was able to get a lot of, like, really fun grants in college to travel, and so I've been to places like China and Japan, and I've spent extensive time in those regions because of that, and I've sort of been exposed to a lot of different worldviews because of my ability to, I guess, sell myself and yap.
You also have a tendency to persevere, and even you put yourself you're put in a situation, you'll tell your people about your discomfort, but you keep pressing forward, time and time again. It seems it's very
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess that's true. Thank you. Um, but yeah, so it just means I've been to a lot of places, and obviously, not things things are never super easy. Like when I was in South America, I got typhoid and I had to deal with that. And when I was living in China, oh no, when I was living in Japan, I got sick a few times as well and endured like crazy typhoons and stuff. Like all of these sort of rich experiences require enduring and endurance.
But it's, and correct me if I'm wrong, that experience in Bolivia sounds like it really opened up your eyes and
Yes.
like kind of gave you this framework to be able to go out and be immersed in different cultures and travel around. And I assume in a way that is really thoughtful
Yeah.
to the people that live in those areas.
100%. I mean, even when we were down there, we were introduced to the concept of environmental racism, white saviorism, all these sort of like really important things in our world that I think I've carried with me to this day, and I've continued to educate myself on, which I feel very fortunate to have gotten that exposure so early, because I know a lot of folks who didn't and have a hard time grasping those ideas sometimes when they're introduced later in life.
What food reminds you of home, Joey? With all this talk about going elsewhere, what
Excellent
what is it
question.
that brings you back home?
Food. And when I remember when I did my interview, I was asked this question, and back then I said it was Hamburger Helper,
Oh,
uh,
yes.
which to some extent still does. Like I still love the beef stroganoff flavor of Hamburger Helper. My mom made that for us every once on occasion growing up. Uh, that food reminds me of home. Always will. I think the recipe's gotten worse over time though. So shame on you, Hamburger Helper. I'm sorry if we lose our sponsorship dollars because of that.
Astound. You could you could make an elevated
I could. I've been
hamburger
considering it. I've been
helper.
considering it. Uh,
Just add it to the list.
one more thing,
Yeah,
but
Joey
Just make
has
sure it happens after the lasagna.
yeah,
yes. We have a very long request list out to Joey on food that he needs to make us here at the
mm,
food bank.
To be fair, the request list is based off of items that Joey has shared that he can cook. So
yeah,
we're not pulling
Yes.
pulling out of a hat
And
here.
maybe some wagers were made.
some wagers perhaps, debatably. But anyways, still growing the wheat for the lasagna noodles. So once the wheat's grown and sheared, we'll be able to make the lasagna. uh, yeah, but I think Hamburger Helper is the one that reminds me of home. Uh, Spaghetti bolognese as well, but the American meat sauce version where you just pour a can of tomato sauce on a bunch of ground beef. That was something we ate a lot growing up too.
Have you had it recently? Either dish?
I recently made, gosh, like a month ago, I made the meat sauce that my dad used to always make. Although I'll jazz it up a little bit. I'll add soy sauce or fish sauce into it. I'll sometimes throw chili oil on top. So
Mmm.
a little bit more, but still the same idea.
Joey makes an excellent chili oil as well.
Yes, I do.
I'm waiting for my refill.
That one. That one
That
I
one's
think is
also on the
actually
list.
that one's coming soon. I think I'm pretty sure that I can get that one done.
So, Robert alluded to this a little bit earlier about your role here at White Center Food Bank. I guess your official title is operations coordinator, which really probably just means person of all trades,
Yeah,
but
wears a lot of hats.
yeah, supporting distribution, overseeing our home delivery programs, overseeing a lot of our mobile programming, doing random pickups, Ranch 99, City Soil, and then
Ranch 99, City Soil, random other pickups if someone does a food drive. Trying to think if there's any other ones I do with regularity. City Soil, Ranch 99 are the big ones. I'm sure we're forgetting one or two right now.
I know you usually take me along on ride-alongs with those, so I'm trying to think if there's any other places that we stopped at, but those have been
Not
our
when I
two
take
most
you
recent.
normally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those ones are those two are pretty. Those are in the same neck of the woods, so we get to hit both of those.
Yeah, so a lot of things to make sure that the community gets the food that they deserve. And then a big part of your job is purchasing the amazing produce that we put out every day. You can see beautiful example behind us. And so we have some grant funding that Joy is able to spend and I'll let you talk more about that in a second, but I think oh gosh, it prior to 2020, our food budget was like significantly smaller. Maybe $25,000, and of course, and so we purchased no produce. It was mostly, stuff for the November and December holidays and like shelf stable items and some meat. But 2020 came along, and that kind of just like made everything turn upside down. But one thing, we were able to get an influx of grant funding, and a lot of it could be used for food purchasing. And we took some time to like really reflect on where we were, and like, so much of what we were thinking about too is like what our community was going through, whether it's the business community, the farming community, thinking about local farmers, because many of them had lost, some of their biggest purchasers, restaurants, as restaurants closed temporarily. And then we ended up getting a lot donated, but it kind of broke our heart a little bit because it was like these people work incredibly hard, and pretty much they're not going to make any money. Like, they have families to feed too. And so we diverted a lot of our grant funding to be able to support a lot of these local farmers and purchase directly from them in an effort of solidarity, really. And it's something that we've continued to expand and to grow. And um, I'm sure listeners know, but in case you don't, like, produce is our number one requested item here at the food bank. It's something that families really want and can be expensive in stores, right? Like, we see processed food all the time is so much cheaper than being able to buy a pound of whatever produce. And especially if you have, multiple family members in your home that you're feeding, like, that can all add up. And so that is something we really pride ourselves on here at White Center Food Bank, is being able to support families in that way with items that they want. And something really cool about produce too is a lot of items are cross-cultural. And so that way we can meet, the needs of a lot of different types of people. And so Joey is the, I keep trying to think of like a
A
nickname
name
for
for it.
you. I
Yeah.
want to call you like the produce king, but I feel like that might
Kind
be
of a weird
somebody
power.
else's
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
So
That
I
might
don't
be
want to take that
trademarked.
away from them.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about like, kind of the method to your produce purchasing, the things that you think about, and how many different vendors you use, and like how you prioritize or think through like purchasing locally versus like
Yeah,
cheapest
absolutely.
price per pound?
So yeah, it's an interesting balancing act. Obviously in this world, finding a way to utilize the money we receive as effectively and as efficiently as possible is quite important because uh, we're serving a lot of folks, and we want to make sure that they are able to feed their families with what we give them to the best of their ability. And we also kind of want to make sure that they know what we're giving them, or at least can figure it out quite easily. We talk sometimes about cultural foods here. That's a big sort of approach I take when I'm ordering food. I really try and think about who's coming in here, what foods have they seen before, And can I at least provide 1 or 2 of those every time I get food? Um, we are working with upwards of 3 to 5 vendors at all times. Our biggest sort of purchasing partner is Charlie's Produce, but we also work with Caruso Produce and Pacific Fresh. Those are the 3 big companies we work with in terms of like produce wholesalers. But we also work with a lot of local farms. Like we often get grants specifically targeted towards spending locally, which is amazing. So we'll do stuff like Farm Stand, and we've worked with amazing farmers like Hughes Blooms and Greens, Jacobs Agro, and a bunch of folks over the years who are all sort of representing different cultural groups in the area. Like Hughes Blooms and Greens were growing a lot of crops that were really culturally familiar to our Vietnamese and Cambodian customers, of whom a lot come through the food bank. So, uh, let's see, where else can I go with this? I mean, I think that when
So when you're looking at purchasing for the week, are you looking for quantity of produce, like a heavy weight, or are you looking for a variety of produce, or does that kind of fluctuate from time to time?
um I'm never really looking for weight. Uh but variety is always really important. I mean, we've to for the nitty-gritty, we try and spend below a certain number every week, and we can go past it and we can run deficits and stuff like that. And we're at the end of the year we're trying to balance the books. But the big thing here is making sure that we're providing people with uh enough food that they're going to be excited to come in here, and enough food that they're going to see things that they maybe won't expect here. For example, also I think we're actually very fortunate that a lot of our customers um have a lot of sort of, as Carmen said, cultural crossover with food. Like mangoes are beloved by I think almost everyone that comes through here. And so exactly. So mangoes are a common sight. Who doesn't love a banana, right? But we're also able to get some sort of more, I don't want to say niche, but things that we don't see as often here in the United States, like gailan, baby bok choy, tomatillos. We like to provide all those for our customers because these are items that they know quite well, and I just think it would really kind of stink to like come over to this country and just be given a bunch of stuff that you don't know what to do with and be like, all right, make it work. And people have done it in the past, but I don't know. There's something beautiful about like being able to meet people where they're at when they come here. And we're able to do that while staying within these grant budgets that we have. And we're able to do that through sort of to touch further on that. Uh, Charlie's, Caruso, and all these places have push sheets that they use every week where they'll be giving out sort of deals based on what they have an abundance of. Sometimes it's a product that they need to get out the door fast because they ordered too much. Who knows why they end up on push sheets, but oftentimes if you're able to sort of like use those sheets and navigate them well, you can really get some amazing things at significantly cheaper than you would find in a grocery store, even wholesale. And oftentimes these items are not only a really good price, but also like really, really fresh. And I've kind of demanded that from our vendors. I would say like, if you really don't think that you would want to eat this, I don't want to order it from you. And honestly, at this point, whenever I get something like that, we get a refund on it, and they've come to expect that.
It is something that because my office is next to Joey's, I will be the first to hear when somebody is late on their order or did not deliver as promised. And hearing him, make those phone calls or type out those emails that are pretty strongly worded, but they come from a place that it's like, hey, these are customers. These are people who are looking to eat, and you wouldn't sell this to somebody else. So why are you selling it to us? And it's, perfectly valid. And it's again, it makes my job easier to go out and say, this is what the food bank's about. This is the guy who's handling our produce. This is the guy who's like, he's out there and he's fighting, in another direction as he talks with these corporations.
Yeah, I think that's just a testament to what you value here at White Center Food Bank and how you see our customers. Like, they're a part of your community, right? And like, you hold the vendors to a very high standard. Like, just because people are coming into the food bank, like, doesn't mean that they deserve crappy produce. Like, they deserve anything that's just as nice, like, for any other higher retail store. And I really appreciate that about you and that you hold people to that because it's important, right? It's important to the community. It's important to you, and it makes people want to come here because they know that they're going to be treated like a real person. Um,
Yeah, one of the things that I really appreciate too, Joey, and that I talk about too with donors and stuff is, this is restaurant quality produce. This is the same produce that the restaurant down the street is getting from Charlie's or Caruso's, or same vendors, really high quality, really fresh, and yeah, and we're also, probably one of the buying at quantities that
Yes.
more than most restaurants, because
Yes, 100%.
we're feeding hundreds of families every day. So we're not just, there, it's not like a handout from these companies. We're paying market price, and we're you know feeding people with these dollars. So it is something that, like, I think the impression is that most food banks have, lower quality or like the dregs of the produce. But you come in here, if for folks that can see the camera, I mean, this is beautiful stuff that's fresh from some farms, even from today. So, really applaud your efforts to bring this fresh, beautiful produce to our community.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that dedication to having a high quality product like comes through in our other programming as well, like grocery rescue, right? Like we're not putting the sloppy dregs on, like the volunteers or the staff are like going through that before it hits the floor out here just because like we don't want our customers to have to dig through garbage to get what they need. Like they deserve to have the best, and if we can make that easier for them too, even with the grocery rescue program, the team does that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the store, to sort of follow up, we sort of follow the same thing with produce that we do with anything we receive from like QFC, Safeway, PCC, any of the grocery stores. It's once again, if like you wouldn't eat it, like why should we be giving that out to somebody? Like we are not giving people trash. Um, we really want them to leave this place feeling like they left with the same quality or even sometimes better than they would find at a grocery store, to be honest. Some of the stuff I see at like places, sometimes the quality is sometimes leaves a bit to be desired, not to throw any shade. But I don't know, people just deserve to. I think that food is such a baseline need that people deserve access to, sort of no questions asked. That's sort of my own political opinion. And I think it's something that a lot of us share here. And it's something that we really push forward with the work we do. And it's why we do what we do here.
yeah. I also want to highlight that periodically we do get customer feedback about the produce that Joey should buy. It's evolved over the years too. We used to do like a paper survey asking folks, and that was challenging in a lot of different ways just because, we have to have them translated, and then even then a reality for a lot of folks that come here, they might not be able to read in their home language too. So, um, we wanted to make it as accessible as possible for people to give their feedback. So we kind of came up with like this little, I love it, a little voting ballot box, vote on your favorite vegetable or vote on your favorite fruit. And so we're doing one right now, but for produce, we had 4 different boxes
You're
with
basically doing
different
runoffs.
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people would just have, like, a little token and vote on their favorite fruit. Mango did win, by the way. And so it gives Joey a sense of, like, what is really important to folks, what should I keep my eye out for if it's a really good price. But you also, like, experiment
I do.
too, which has been really fun. But one more thing I wanted to say about that is, a lot of times, at least in my previous work, working in food justice, oftentimes I would hear from community that people, when they go to get food or they're interested in learning how to grow food, like, the food isn't culturally responsive to what people actually want to eat. So, this example that sticks in my brain is I had a Black community member tell me like the only thing that they're giving us is kale. Like kale isn't familiar to me, that I want something else. Like they didn't even ask what I'd be interested in. They just assumed that I would be interested in kale, and that's just not it's not nourishing to me. And that, I know how to eat healthy. It's just I don't have access to healthy food. And so that's one thing that I really appreciate about White Center Food Bank is that we make the community as much a part of the process as possible and like really listen to them. Like I know like you're noticing what flies off the produce table the quickest, even if maybe we don't always get to ask, what folks are wanting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'm always sort of watching what's going and what's a fast mover, what's not, what our community really wants, and whether or not they're voting on it or not. And oftentimes it's pretty easy to find out. Like you'll see, like, oh yeah, we ran out of this thing by halfway through the day. Oh shoot, maybe we'll have to order more next time. And yeah, I just think that it's so important to provide folks with food that they don't need to like do an investigation to figure out how to cook. It's fun to do that sometimes, but it really shouldn't be the normal. I remember the one time I ever went to a food bank when I before I started this job, I was handed like 6 bundles of bananas, which I love bananas, but
What are
like
you going to do with
what am I
six
gonna do?
bundles?
What am I gonna do with that many bananas? And the answer is a lot of them are gonna rot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And yeah, I find it so important to give people food that they're gonna cook, right? Like, or they're gonna do something with, they're gonna eat it. I I've always tried to like sort of like give myself perspective here. Like, if I were to move to a place like South India and be told to make a South Indian meal with a bunch of ingredients I was given, I love food, but even I might not know what to do. That's like overwhelming. They're already getting like bombarded by like all these kinds of like new sensory experiences, whether it be different languages you've never heard, um, people you're not familiar with, spaces you're not familiar with, and then to add on top of that, like a bunch of food that you need to figure out how to eat. It can be really grounding to be given stuff that reminds you of home, or just that you can make taste delicious. And oftentimes, like eating a good meal is a huge morale boost, right? I think that's like something that almost every culture and every person can agree with.
Were you going to say something?
No, he kind of brought it up there. And, it all circles back to being able to eat something that reminds you of home. We asked that question at our interviews. We asked the question here in the podcast, and it really does, shape our mind to think about our customers as people, as ourselves, as, when I go home after a long day, what I eat at home is what I want to eat. It's I make that choice. And so being able to make that choice easier in a place where maybe there's not a lot of choice,
Yeah.
I think is the real impact there is you can go, oh, okay, it was a hard day today, but at least I have these things that I can cook up, and it's going to remind me of what it was like to run around as a kid, or what it was like to have a home cooked meal from grandmother. Those are things that I think as humans, we can all trace back. As you were saying, we all have those formative years where we have our favorite foods, we have the things that we want our parents to make us, and having that opportunity to make it for ourselves.
So what's everyone's favorite fruit or vegetable? You can have two answers if you want.
Um, my favorite fruit is oranges. I love oranges.
Oh,
But I'm a huge on any citrus, but I will always have a bag of oranges, satsumas, sitting at home.
those are the best ones.
And then in terms of vegetable, um, let me think about it. There's a couple there, but I do like bok choy. I do enjoy the crunchiness of it, and it's pretty versatile. but I also like tomatoes. I am a stickler for tomatoes, and if a place doesn't have good tomatoes on a sandwich or on a burger, or if they refuse to put tomatoes on a burger, I'm just not going to have it. I need to have a good tomato.
Are you gonna get technical on us?
Me,
Yeah.
not too technical,
Okay. All
but
right.
yeah.
Oh, because I'll get technical back because that is not, there is no scientific term for a vegetable. It is a culinary term, and it's
Is
something that
it?
Joey agrees with me with.
Yeah, there's a
Oh.
culinary and scientific term for tomato.
Hmm.
That's true. That's true. Although I mean, I agree about the tomatoes, but like, come on, like in a restaurant, like a random burger joint, you're just gonna get that beef steak on there. I think that often detracts. Like, if it's a freshly grown from your garden, I agree, but like some random soulless tomato.
That's
I've been
that.
to Blue Moon Burger and I've been to Coastline Burger, and both of those places refuse to put tomatoes. And I always feel like there's just too much meat flavor
Mm,
or, barbecue sauce or whatever other salty things in there. It cuts it down.
just needs some pickles.
Soulless tomato.
Uh, we're not here to debate Robert's answer. It's your turn to share yours,
Yeah.
Joey.
My favorite vegetable is probably cabbage.
Cabbage.
Mhm.
Oh, that tracks.
I think that it is supremely versatile. There are tons of different varieties of it eaten throughout the entire world. If you forget about it for 2 months, it's probably still good to eat. And also, you can just ferment it really well, and I do love fermentation. So, those are all reasons to enjoy it. And then I was gonna say my fruit. That's a harder one. Um, I truly do eat like an apple a day. So perhaps it's apples, but apples can be the worst fruit in the world or the best fruit in the world, depending on what type of apple you get and if it's actually a good one. Um,
I do see you walking around eating an apple,
that's
and
true.
not very many people do that.
They're just so good. They got the crunch, the flavor. I don't know. They're also really versatile. You can use them like you can just eat them raw. You can cook with them. I
They're,
guess I appreciate a versatile
they're also
piece of
portable.
produce.
You like to carry things around and you're moving and grooving and eating a lot.
Yeah, they are portable.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, every fruit's portable if you really believe in yourself.
that's true.
Yeah. Maybe not pineapples.
Mm,
Oh, I do love pineapple too. Pineapple's a close second. I have a tattoo of it on my arm.
Who likes it so much?
Yeah.
right next to the pizza.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, you're gonna make me go? Ay, ay, ay. I feel like, well, I'm just gonna go with it. I think mango is my. Ooh, I think mango is my favorite fruit to eat. Passion fruit is
Yeah.
really high up there too. Um, Vegetable. I like tomatoes. I like avocado, but is that a fruit? Is it a vegetable? I don't know. I eat avocado like every day.
I feel like it's a vegetable, like culinary vegetable territory.
Those are my answers.
I'm gonna say dragon fruit.
What color? Yellow?
The
The yellow one or the white flesh or the pink
the pink
flesh?
one.
Pink.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have it enough, but I feel like every time I have it, it's the best thing. And then Napa cabbage.
Napa
I
cabbage.
just feel like it's very versatile.
Good
Versatile.
cabbage.
Yeah. So stir fried garlic
Mm-hmm.
or soup.
Oh, yeah.
Kimchi
I
it
do
up.
like bok choy
Yeah.
too. It is. You know who makes really good bok choy, if you're lucky? Miss Chio.
Oh,
Oh my
she told me she doesn't
gosh.
cook.
Uh, she says these things, but
Mhm.
every once in a
I mean, I know
while.
she's lying.
For me, I'm also on the tomato train. Especially, I've got an amazing tomato crop right now that
Mm.
is just about to explode. So, tomato right out of the garden. Actually, local celebrity chef Kenji Lopez Alt, his tomato sandwich recipe is amazing. It's just like piece of bread with Japanese mayo, tomato slices from your garden with some furikake on top. It's like the most amazing thing. I I had one for breakfast this morning.
Yum.
And then I'm thinking I love blueberries, especially good ones, you know, and not sometimes the ones that you get in the store, they look good, but
They
they
can be
don't taste
duds.
My
good. Yeah.
gosh.
So the local great blueberries in this area are amazing, and mangoes for sure.
I know. Mangoes are so good. So you're jogging a memory for me. When I interned at a farm, the farm manager used to make us actually beet sandwiches with
Yep.
fresh beets. She would like steam the beet or something, but just throw it on some bread with some mayo and like whatever seasoning. So freaking good.
Beet's an underrated vegetable.
Beet is an underrated vegetable. What kind of tomatoes are you growing, Jefferson?
Well, we've got um, they're like a Greek kind of Roma style tomato. I
Ooh.
can't remember all of the varieties. The cherry tomato. We have the kind of purple tomatoes.
Oh, the
Uh,
purple Cherokee, the small ones?
yeah, they're about like that
That
big.
yes, yeah.
Um, and kind of a slicing tomato as well for the burger barbecues.
Amazing.
Soulful tomato.
Yeah, we're also growing Korean cucumbers, which are the best
Yum.
cucumbers for sure for pickling and all that stuff for kimchi.
Mm.
That's
Have
delicious.
Joey, have you had a garden here in Seattle?
I Not really. I briefly, when I lived here in White Center, me and my housemates did to some extent, but the the yard was so untended that we could only do so much, and we were sort of in the process of transforming that yard by the time I moved out. Um, Other than that, I've mostly done like windowsill stuff out here, but not like a full garden. Yeah, unfortunately.
I also have a little bit of a farming background and um when I moved here had tried to like garden a little bit too, and the growing season is just so different
It
from
is
what I'm
weird.
used to.
Yeah.
It's a window. It's a window of opportunity.
Kind of, but it's also like a slow roll.
Yeah.
Mm.
'Cause, like, with tomatoes, like, it's like they're all ready at once in September?
Yeah, August. I mean, mine
And,
have started to
oh, that's
pop,
good.
but we made a little hothouse to
Oh,
start them.
Yep.
nice.
Um,
That is
very
the move.
simple hothouse, but it especially the beginning of the season is so unpredictable when you plant
Yeah,
them, and then they can just get stunted, and yeah, you got to keep them hot. They love the hot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And most of my growing experience is from Minnesota, which the summers get really hot there and very humid and, like, fast. It heats up fast there. So the growing season was just like so different. Well, and I guess I grew in Syracuse, New York too, and it's just so different.
Yep.
It's so interesting to think about too.
Yeah. I mean, Carmen and I both actually have most of our farming experience in Minnesota, which is funny. Same growing season. Um, but yeah, it gets super hot and it's pretty consistent though. Like you kind of know when it's gonna start. You can plan ahead. You can do your hoop house. You can do your greenhouse, get stuff started, and then sort of expect a similar result every year. It is changing a little bit. I mean, I think most places are with climate change, and uh, but Seattle's season is very different. And you can actually, I mean, theoretically, you can grow food year round here, but there's a that doesn't mean what I thought it meant when I first moved here. I was like, I'm just gonna be able to farm all year. No,
No.
no, 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 no.
What are what are what is something that you've purchased for the grocery store that surprised you that like either you thought people were gonna like and they didn't, or the opposite? You weren't sure if they were gonna like it and they loved it.
What would it be? Probably taro.
Oh,
I bought a bunch of taro root one time because I got a really amazing deal on it, and I just asked my guy if he had some. And I've been waiting for another one of those deals because I put it out and yeah, like I thought it was just going to be a sort of select few customers who wanted the taro root, and I was very wrong. Almost everyone wanted taro root. People were pretty stoked about it. A few folks didn't know what it was, of course, but most people did, and it flew. And so definitely taro. Uh, that was really cool to get all that, and I wish we were able to get that more often, but it's kind of hard to find, at least at the scale in which we hand it out.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things, especially right now, is all the gleaning that we are
Oh,
getting
good
from
call.
the
Yeah.
West Seattle Farmers Market and the Burien Farmers Market, and just like the quality of that produce coming in from the farmers, and they're so generous, and it's just beautiful, beautiful stuff coming every week. I think last week we had our record
Yeah, we did
numbers, like
1,600 something
yes,
pounds
just
from West Seattle Farmers
almost
Market.
almost a ton of produce coming in from just donated from West Seattle Farmers Market, and so it's just been really a really cool partnership to see the
It has been.
farmers support us in that way.
Yeah, and I think that's something cool that we really do. And my exposure in the food bank world before this is pretty slim, but to my it is really amazing how much effort we put into purchasing locally and how much leniency I've been given to purchase local produce. We sometimes talk about like creating a closed loop food system here at the White Center Food Bank. And in short, what that is a system in which we almost all of the capital we invest into produce food, it's going into a closed loop of local farmers who are then taking that money that we gave them and spending it on other local products, and it's sort of this creating this closed circle of interdependence within the Pacific Northwest. And I think that's a really beautiful thing to aspire to. And so whenever we're able to purchase from local farmers, which we get to do a lot now, it's really exciting. And stuff like the farmers market, partnerships with places like City Soil Farm, which is a farm that works with the King County Wastewater Division using sort of their water to grow crops. I think we've got some behind us. Yeah, we got some figs behind us from them right now. Um, all of that stuff's really cool, and oftentimes the stuff that's coming in is even better than stuff I would have seen sometimes in the restaurant world. I mean, obviously we got local crops there sometimes too, but the scale in which we receive them here is quite amazing.
Yeah, and it's incredible. Like the gleaning program and then city soil, like that's all donated too. So we're getting like this amazingly beautiful produce at no cost and passing it on to the customers.
Shout out to Shark Garden too.
Oh, and Shark
Yes,
Garden,
100% Shark Garden as
yes.
well.
Yes, they're amazing. Yeah.
And all of our community pea patches too, who, I mean, everyone brings stuff in. Like I know we have these big I've been talking a lot about these big wholesalers and big sort of medium to big farms that bring stuff in, but our local community also shows up pretty big time for us, especially around this time of year when people's gardens are popping off, and people very consistently bring in very beautiful stuff. Like it's not stuff that they're trying to throw out, it's not stuff they're trying to pawn off on us. It's stuff that they just want to sort of share their abundance with the community, which is great to see.
I think this is my second summer here, and at the beginning of both summers, somebody came by and dropped off a bunch of plant starts, and they disappear pretty quickly. Like they find homes very quickly, so people can get their own garden started at home, and that's all coming from the community as well. It's really rich to live in a place where people hear about a problem and you can work with them and try to find a solution together to try to create a closed loop system to try to um, correct me if I'm wrong, but City Soil, how did they start their relationship with us? Was that something that they did on their own volition, or we reached out to City Soil, or is it something that people there knew about the White Center Food Bank?
I'm gonna pass this one off to Carmen. She actually knows about the relationship more than me.
Um, so the lore is that, King County wastewater treatment plant wanted to show that you could grow produce with this waste product, that they are creating. I think it's called Loop. But so they wanted to have like a demo farm and they didn't really have like an idea for like what to do with the produce. They just knew that they wanted to show like this is what you can do with this. Um and the farm manager at the time was like, "Oh my gosh, we're growing all this beautiful produce. Like we need to find a place to be able to donate it to and had found White Center Food Bank and had formed a partnership that way, and it's just, continued on. And I mean, you've seen the product. It's incredible.
The farm is incredible,
Yeah,
and the
really
people
pretty.
down there are always so sweet and kind, and happy to share their bounty. Because, like as you said, they don't have a place for it to go, and so they know that when they hand it off to us, it's going somewhere, and it's going to go end up in somebody's home, and feed them for the day. And being able to see that joy in their face as they hand it off to us, uh, knowing that they can have it's the system is all there. Everybody is kind of working hand in hand towards a common goal without really it feeling like it's too much of a weight off of our or onto it any of our shoulders.
The figs are amazing. The raspberries that they grow there are so gorgeous and delicious. Um, how is the customer response to like the city soil product?
I mean, it flies, right?
Yeah.
Like oftentimes we get stuff in on Tuesdays. I mean, I always do a pickup on Tuesdays during the summer, and so Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, sometimes it doesn't even get to Thursday. That stuff just flies off the shelves here. They'll sometimes swing by and drop stuff off on other days too. So customers coming in most days of the week often get access to that product. And even if they don't get city soil, there's a bunch of other local farms like Kearsarge Farms that will also just drop stuff off at all times. And most of these farmers I'm often sent these emails now since I'm the one doing a lot of sort of managing these purchasing relationships. They'll ask me what we want them to grow for us, and so I went around. We polled the community in the past. I've also just asked folks around me, like, hey, like, what are some like products that you don't normally see in stores here that you think are hard to find that like you remember fondly from home or that you love and wish was you could see more of? And so because of that, we've been able to bring stuff in like Gailan, Chinese broccoli, um, just a lot of really beautiful, tasty things um, that I often can't find on wholesale lists.
How would you describe Gailong for people that don't know what it is?
Gailan is oh man, it's a green, yes. It's like a leaf, it's like a mix between like, and someone correct me if they think I'm off base here. It's kind of like a mix of like a leafy green, like kale or lettuce. If you mix that with like I don't know, like a broccoli. Like it's very like you like with Gailan, you can like saute it and you can do all kinds of stuff with it, but you can also eat it in like a salad. I prefer it to like be a stir fry or saute. I think it just cooks really well. Um, but it's very common in Southeast Asia, especially in like southern China. Um, and you just don't find it much in stores here, and it's tastes amazing. It like I don't know, it's both fresh and like really you can taste the freshness, but it takes on heat really well, which a lot of leafy greens don't.
It also kind of absorbs flavor too, kind of like
Yes.
broccoli. So
Yes.
it's like collards and broccoli. It's a kind of a
Exactly.
combo.
Like you can create like a really I mean, one of the ways I've often eaten it in like Chinese restaurants and other restaurants around here is they'll just saute gailan in like a really delicious garlic oil and they'll
Mm.
serve it with some soy sauce sometimes, but really just that garlic oil uh carries it through. That's all you really need. You can keep it simple.
A little oyster sauce sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. What are some other favorite produce memories at White Center Food Bank that folks have?
Well, I mentioned this in the past episodes, but just like customers reaching out through social media and just talking about the produce that they got from the food bank and sharing the recipes is always cool to see. And just seeing all the different types of foods that people are using based off the produce is just great. And it's all a diverse types of foods that I usually see when customers reach out. And so it's yeah, it's very satisfying to see like the different types of foods being made.
I mean, for me, it's my favorite memories about produce in the food bank are hanging out with Joey and going to pick up produce. I spend a lot of my time in an office, and I feel like getting out and about really shakes up my day. And it's always fun to go out with Joey because we'll either talk about the produce that we're going to pick up or something that's currently going on politically, and we have these like really intense conversations that last for a good car ride as we pick up the produce and then head back. But for me, it's a great part of my day, and I really cherish them every time we get to go out.
Uh, some of my great memories with produce are with White Center Heights Elementary School, and we used to help deliver it to the resource center there, and my son's a student there. They now come and pick it up, but my wife and now my mother-in-law have both volunteered to help distribute that produce, and just how thankful all the families are, meeting families where they're at with beautiful fresh produce. And now it's also going to the Boys and Girls Club where my son and a bunch of his friends are attend after school program and summer program. So just knowing that this produce isn't just going out of our food bank, but it's landing in all these amazing with amazing community partners. And I know you mentioned Utopia earlier, but you know, and we've talked about our external programs, but it's really cool that all of this beautiful produce from city soil, from the gleaning, from our produce purchasing is making its way out into the community.
I have so many. And I think I've shared this on a previous episode, but I'll just share it again just because I like the stories so much. Um, I can't remember what year it was, but we were shopping the dock and there was all this dragon fruit at Food Lifeline at Shop the Dock. And we had never had dragon fruit in the store before. We're like, well, we like dragon fruit. I mean, I don't know, let's try it. So I don't know how many cases we brought back, but it was like 30. And um, we're like, okay, let's see how it goes. It was gone in one day. 30 cases of dragon fruit. And it was like, okay, this is important to the community. Also, hello, like this is expensive in stores too. So how often can we have this? We experimented growing with it too, of course, but we're not able to have a garden program anymore. And have also brought dragon fruit out to tabling events, I think Cambodian New Year, as like a food giveaway for our table. And like all of the aunties noticed that I had it. And of course I can't say no, but then I gave away all the dragon fruit before the event even started because I'm a sucker for an auntie. Um, I think also an Elk Run Farm is another farm.
Just trying to remember.
Yeah. So that is through the South King County Food Coalition. They're on an old golf course in Maple Valley, and they grow food for, I don't know, 13, 14, 15 food banks in South King County. And something that they had asked us, what's important to your community? Like, what could we try growing this year as an experiment? And we suggested bitter melon. And, that's not something that's like super commonly grown around here, but I think maybe is a little bit more now. And they had grown bitter melon for us and brought it. And it was like, the customers, their eyes lit up, like it went so quickly. So that is another special memory. And then I'll share one more, and then Joey, if you want to share anything, is actually when you decided to buy ube.
Ah.
So ube is a purple potato common in the Philippines, and in other parts of Southeast Asia, but my mom is obsessed with purple. So I think that's why she likes ube so much, because it's purple. But Joey had purchased a case or two just to see how it would go here at White Center Food Bank and gave me one to give my mom. And oh my gosh, just the excitement in her eyes, the joy. It was like seeing this other side of my mother when I gave it to her, and she was so happy, so excited to have ube and that it came from the food bank, which was really special.
I do remember that. She was very stoked that day.
I
Yeah.
did give you all the credit.
Yeah. I know. I wish I could find more deals on that stuff. Well, I think actually in a few months we might be able to get it cheap again. That's often when it seems to be between summer and fall is right when it seems to be the best price. But we'll see. TBD. No guarantees. Some of my favorite memories. I guess I can highlight. It's been really nice, sort of doing all the purchasing and sort of taking ownership of that because I've sort of gotten to see tangibly how excited people get. Um, and that's very affirming. Makes me feel like I'm doing a decent job, and I'm happy to hear all these stories. Um, One other part of what I do here is I run all of our mobile sites. We do pop-up food banks in our community. I'm sure we've talked about it on other episodes. In fact, I've heard us talk about it, but we have pop-up food banks every other week at 3 different locations in White Center. Most of these places, in fact, all of these places are serving oftentimes folks who are in need of assisted living, whether it be because of injury, financial conditions, age. And I am pretty hands-on with those programs, and seeing the reaction from some of these old folks when we bring fresh produce there, especially this time of year. Whenever we get farmers market stuff and I'm able to really get some beautiful stuff, seeing how excited they are to have stuff brought to them that is local, fresh, familiar, um, it's really, really amazing, and it's really, really nice. And I often get thanked a lot for it, and I don't think I deserve all that thanks. But then, I'll be I get fed like 2-3 times a week by these mostly old aunties who are just feeding me all of their cultural cuisine, which
Wow.
is amazing. I know. I've gotten to eat a lot of amazing Cambodian food now, which I really didn't get to eat much until, gosh, like 2 years ago. Um, but yeah, seeing them get so excited to not only be given fresh food and all that stuff, but to kind of feel seen despite their, I think, kind of vulnerable place they exist in. A lot of folks are existing sort of in both this place of marginalization as well as just age. Um, and it's just really nice to be able to give them something that makes them light up. And I get to do that every week.
That's really sweet, Joey. Thank you for sharing.
Trying to think of any other stories. I mean, I've
Come on, we
I
talk
know,
about
I've got
food
a lot.
all day.
It's interesting, Joey being so quiet on the podcast when I feel like he's gonna have like 1,000 things pop into his mind as soon as we stop recording, and he'll be like, "Oh, I should have brought that up,"
Oh,
or
yeah.
they remember this part. But
That'll be part 2 of this
yeah,
episode.
Indeed, the outtakes. No. Um, Yeah, I'm just trying to keep myself contained. No, I'm just kidding. Not contained. Um,
We do literally talk about food like so much.
yes. Although I probably shouldn't be dropping all of our random food conversations in here.
It depends.
Yeah, it depends on
I
which
don't
ones
know
they
if the
are.
people want to
Like
hear that.
if I'm like
Poor
fighting
Robert has to
Robert,
hear it all the
well,
time.
that's because he has interesting takes. But
and I have
And we talk right in front of his office.
my location and how close I am to the conversations is not by my choice. But I do appreciate how much you guys talk about food and how much it is a shared experience for all of us.
Yeah.
As picky as I might be, Joey, and maybe I have some hot takes, there are still some agreements that we can have when it comes to
100%.
food. Um,
I think that just goes to show like what a personal experience food is. We all have like you call yourself a picky eater, but like I mean, we all have these preferences whether they're chosen or not, right? And I mean, it just shapes our experience around food, but I love that we can still find ways to connect with each other, at least come to an understanding with each other through food. It's this amazing connector.
yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Well, I know we could talk about food all day because we do. But I mean, are there any last thoughts anybody wants to share?
What you got?
Nothing that comes to mind. I'm just wondering when we're gonna get that lasagna. I know.
Every time you ask, it gets delayed a
The
month.
people want
Again, I have
lasagna.
offered. I'm happy to help you make noodles. I'm happy to help the
It-
process along.
That's
But
not
it
what.
seems
No,
like what's the
I just need to do it myself. It needs to be the right time.
okay.
I think it'll happen soon, but
Start harvesting that wheat.
I know. I gotta raise the farmers from scratch too. So, I mean, you and
Put baby Joey to work.
I could put baby Joey to work. I have a cat. Her name is Baby Joey. For anyone who's curious.
that,
Um,
that does need a clarification.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't actually have a child named Baby Joey.
It's
Well,
a
I do, but
kid.
she's a cat. But yeah, I mean, Jefferson and Mike both have kids, so if they can start teaching them to reap.
We might be
Reap what you sow.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we can make some noodles. Specifically, if they can grow some semolina wheat,
semolina
that
flour,
would be
yeah.
that would be preferred.
All right, so like in 20 years.
It'll be really good lasagna. Yeah. I'm kidding. That should probably be coming soon, though.
We'll see. Stay
First, I gotta make
tuned.
chili oil and a few other things, though.
Stay tuned. Yeah, that's always how it goes. Do we
I
have
have cooked for this place, by the way. They've eaten my food plenty of times.
Yes, he has cooked for us and has made some delicious food. And, maybe that's part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We
Because
just
the
want more.
people want delicious food.
That's true.
Give the people what they want, Joey. Do we have any announcements?
We do. Let me check my calendar real quick. On August 21st, which is the third Thursday of the month, we'll be having our art walk or be part of the Red City Art Walk. We'll be hosting a few artists here. This is going to be a bigger art walk than usual. The art walk is pairing up with a local Seattle foundation that helps children access arts in media.
Oh,
And so
cool.
there's going to be way more artists out here, maybe even some DJs popping up in White Center. White Center is always popping during these art walks and especially during the summer. So it should be exciting. And then we have our fall Cultivating Community dinner and fundraiser, which will be happening on October 10th. More information will be coming out later this week and next week. But just put that on your calendar that we will be having our fall dinner and fundraiser.
Great. And then folks will be able to buy tickets on our website.
We'll have tickets available on our website, and that will be updated as the tickets become available. And we'll have more information about what's going to be eaten that evening and what performing arts we'll have as well.
Amazing. And follow along on social media. You get all these updates there as well. And we're at White Center Food Bank on all platforms. And I just want to thank Robert for being my co-host and Joey for being our special guest on today's episode. And that's going to conclude episode 11. You can get this podcast wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.